In this video, I am covering a subject which so many of you have requested and one that is extremely important for getting better at the game of chess, and that is time management. The video is split into two parts. The first, we will look at 3 examples of people playing too fast and how to improve that skill, and then we will take a look at playing too slowly. Timestamps are in the video player, and at the beginning of each section, I will give you my general advice before we look at specific examples. So we're going to kick things off with playing too quickly. Now here we're looking at 3 things. Number 1, playing too quickly in the opening. Just disregarding what the opponent is doing and just going for our own setup or just blindly playing random moves. Then we will take a look at quickly capturing, like capturing too fast in situations you don't need to, which happens a lot. And then speed when you're converting and slowing it down when you already have an advantage and a cushion of time and actually winning the game. So let's go. This first game, actually, we can even look at it from Black's perspective because the subscriber sending in the game was playing with the black pieces. This is a 15-10 game. 15-minute, 10-second bonus, and it's a Queen's Gambit declined, and White plays c5. Again, it's 790 versus 800. The players playing the theory are not extremely well-versed per se, but so far so good. So far, Black has done everything right. Black has developed. White has spent a tiny bit more time, but notice that Black is not even dipping for a second below 15 minutes, and now Black plays the move Queen to a5. Now, if you notice, this is 10-second bonus, which means Black played this move in 8 seconds. This is a 15-minute game. You've spent 8 seconds and you've played a move that isn't even that good. I mean, why are we getting our queen out? It's not a bad move according to the engine. I mean, but the best move in this position, you don't even have to think about it. Go castle your king and then figure out what you want to do. Come up with a plan. Maybe you want to do this. You know, maybe you want to play b6 to target the pawn. Maybe you want to finish your development and then break in the center with e5 or play h6. There is so much you can do in a 15-minute game. And then the queen pops out, and the reason I'm showing this to you is, you know, White ends up with tunnel vision. First of all, Black ends up with tunnel vision. White spends like 40 seconds and plays this. I don't know what that move is. Black here goes bishop e4, kind of continuing with this idea. Takes on f6, takes a3. Black still doesn't have any less than 15 minutes, and then, you know, White's got 12 minutes at this point, and here Black plays queen b5. Black thinks for 50 seconds, and hangs a queen in one move. And you say, well, Levy, I mean, he spent the most amount of time that move, and he still blundered. But none of this would have happened if this random queen maneuver didn't even happen in the first place, right? Chess is not a game where you need to think for 20 minutes on the 8th move. But keep it simple, and come up with a few ideas. The move queen a5 does not strike me as a move that was thought over for too long, right? And when you rush the opening, you can land yourself in a position that's troublesome, and a few moves later, try to get tunnel vision, making something happen here, and blunder, and you just immediately blunder. I mean, the point of this move was to attack this pawn, and Black just forgot the queen was hanging. So don't rush the opening. Slow it down in the opening. Do a good job in the opening, okay? For this next example, this is, again, an example of playing too quickly. This was a Caro-Kann, which started out more or less normal, right? c3, e6, another 15-minute game. And now Black plays the move c5. So the c5 is a mistake. Black should just continue to develop. You know, but Black plays c5 very quickly, I might add. White plays immediately. Bishop to b5 check, which is not a bad move. Notice how little time White spent on that. Like bishop b5 without even any hesitation. Knight to c6. And now White plays a decent looking move, knight to e5. Trying to put some pressure here. And Black just takes on d4. And Black spent 10 seconds on that move, like 15 seconds on that move. Completely disregarding this, and White just takes back? White just takes back? Also a move played in 15 seconds. What? Wasn't your whole idea to just go here? Slow it down. You've got 16 minutes on the clock. Punish your opponent, especially the more time on the clock you have. Don't make these silly mistakes because look what happens. Now queen a5 check, boom. Queen a5 check, boom. And that's it. Now you've lost the bishop. And actually, a few moves later, White was so frustrated, White just resigned the game. White just straight up resigned the game, down a piece. You cannot have a 15-minute game decided with both players over 15 minutes on the clock. This is too fast. You are playing too quickly. Slow it down in the opening. Slow it down. If you're going to play a 15-minute game, it is your responsibility to study and be a diligent 15-minute player. If you want to go play quick games, play bullet, play blitz. But 15-minute deserves your full undivided attention. And you know, just because a pawn is taken does not mean you have to take back. That's just the truth. There is a knight here. Visualize that. Be like, wait a second, that's just winning the game. That is how you climb the rating ladder, right? You don't just snap, just too quickly, slow it down, and you'll be good. Now, for this last example, I have to there we go. So for this last example, oh, whoops, there we go. This last example, I've said that 3 times. It feels like a glitch in the Matrix at this point. So for this last example, okay, I'm going to stop. White is completely winning here and has 134 on the clock versus 35, okay? 1 extra minute on the clock in a blitz game, which is 3 minutes with no bonus at all. Now, when you have a 1 minute lead and you're converting a position, you need to, number 1, stop your opponent from taking any of your stuff. Stabilize your position and continue to create threats. Be focused. Don't just try to run them out on the clock. Combine good play with actually trying to beat them, okay? Knight takes a7 was played in this game, which is a mistake because it allows black to take the pawn and activate the rook. What you should have done is you should have wanted this move to happen by protecting your pawn first and then threatening knight takes a7 and promoting your pawn forward. Watch what white ends up doing. Watch white's clock. White just starts to take 3 to 4 seconds every single move and basically just try to flag black. Black marches the king down the board because what else is black gonna do, right? And then king goes to b2. Black has 16 seconds on the clock. What do you do in this situation? Don't trade the pieces. Keep your pieces on the board. Don't go here. First of all, you just hung a rook, number 1. Black can play rook takes g2 check, then pick up your rook. Black is panicking though, so black just plays knight takes e3 because at this point, black is just preparing moves. When there's only 15 seconds on the clock, it's like bam, 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 okay? I'm trying to make these moves happen fast. And white, meanwhile, takes the rook, right? Knight takes g2, king takes g2, and rook to d8. Black is in panic mode and doesn't see that the rook is hanging. So we get rook to d8. Now, rook to d1, king to c2. Okay, I gotta get my rook to safety. Rook takes d2. 8 seconds on the clock. And white plays a drastic error in this position. White needs to move the king out, keep the rook, and black's got 8 seconds. Shuffle back and forth, you're gonna win the game. But white goes here. Horrible blunder. Because now, black just brings the king. And this doesn't take a lot of moves at all. And look, black just starts pushing and pre-moves the rest of the game and mate with 1 second on the clock. White played too fast. That is what happened. White just played too fast. White ends the game with the time advantage but loses the game because white just didn't convert the game properly. White just played a bunch of random moves trying to beat their opponent on the clock. So this kind of sums up playing too quickly, okay? Like, playing too quickly in the opening, not realizing that your opponents are blundering. Slow it down, okay? Now, in 3-minute games and 5-minute games, we looked at 15-minute games, you need to set yourself little barriers of time. And what I mean by that is you need to not think longer than a certain amount of seconds, a certain amount of times a game. So in a 3-minute game, if you spend 15 seconds on one move 3 times, that's 45 seconds. That is a lot of time. You should be averaging 5 seconds a move, 7 seconds a move. But in these longer games, man, y'all gotta slow it down. Now, we move to the section of playing too slowly. Most of you are guilty of this. We will start with this. You play too slowly for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you don't know the plans of the positions as well as you should, okay? That is just the truth. You don't have enough experience with an opening where any position you can go, this is the best plan, this is the best plan. You are still thinking a lot in positions where as you build your experience, you will have the upper hand. Now, this one, set benchmarks, okay? If you're playing a 10-minute game, I'm not gonna be more than 2 minutes away from my opponent, 90 seconds away from my opponent. Refuse. Make a move, even if you're unsure. Maybe I'm not gonna think longer than 40 seconds 3 times. Okay, I need to think a lot for this move, but now for this next, rest of the game, I won't do that anymore. Set benchmarks for yourself like that. That will help, okay? That will speed you up whether you like it or not. Simplify positions and know how to convert positions, okay? We have an example here. For the next examples, a 646 versus a 1073. This game was a fantastic game. It was a London versus kind of a King's Indian. And, okay, we have a position here where white is 257. This is a 3-minute and 2-second bonus game, and black has 237, down a little bit of time. Black now spends 27 seconds. Well, 25 5, I guess, because of the time bonus on this move. This is not a move that requires 27 seconds of thought in a game, right? That's not a super complicated idea with the idea of long castle. White plays c5. White's still playing very quickly. Knight b3, g5. Okay, g5. What is the idea of g5? Of course, you are trying to start a kingside attack. White plays knight fd2. Watch black's time. 206, 156. 10 seconds. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it will start adding up. a4. White spends 8 seconds. Black plays h4. Okay, e4. Now, black has a big decision to make here. Do I take or do I push? Now watch, black spends nearly 30 more seconds on the move h3 as the time goes to 124, and it's not even the best move. That's the thing, you don't know, so just decide, just go, because you won't win or lose the game based on the move h3. Go, force yourself, keep this, in a 3-minute game, you should never be more than a minute behind your opponent, ever, ever. So g takes h3, rook h3, and by the way, it was better to take because you wanted to open up your rook. Now watch what happens as black continues just pummeling white. It's a 400-point difference, but you've got 18 seconds on the clock. Look at this beautiful conversion. Queen is perfect, f5, excellent move, but white consolidates. Watch what white does. I mean, this is fine for blitz. White consolidates the king. Now black is like, what the hell do? I got 15 seconds. Queen g5, okay. Okay, bishop behind the queen. Okay, okay, okay. Rook c2. Let me bring my queen in here attacking the bishop. Rook d2. It's mate. Black did everything right. And black misses it. Black played queen e3 with the idea to take one of these things. And now king c2, queen to f3, missing that this can take. Black is in full panic mode here with 8 seconds on the clock. Rook e2 g3, e5 g2. You win this. Black has 7 seconds. And black loses on time. In this position, doesn't find a move. When you have 3 seconds on the clock, first of all, you should never have 5 seconds on the clock or less, especially if there's bonus time. Make that a goal for yourself. You just check. You do not think. You just check. You have a huge material advantage like this, find a check. Give a check. Slide the king over 1 square. Win time. You have 2 seconds bonus every time you make a move. Win some time. Give a check. Give a check. Give a check. Stop the king's escape. Knowing how to weave a mating net with this little time on the clock will take experience, but that is how you stop playing so slowly. A couple of decisions in this game. You do not need to spend 30 seconds on the move queen to e7. I just want a castle, right? A little bit later, like 35 seconds on the decision of whether or not you should take or push. Just take it. You know what I mean? I know you might not feel like it's the best move, but you thought for 35 seconds and h3 wasn't the best move. So if there is no obvious blunder, just go. Trust me, because what's going to happen is, way later, you're not going to have 14 seconds. You're going to have 35, and that's going to be what you need to win the game. Trust me, forcing yourself to make a move will be much better for your long-term development than getting into positions where one guy has 138 and you have 16, because it doesn't matter whether or not you were winning. You lost because you didn't manage your time effectively, which is why you're watching my video, right? So that is how you need to think about blitz games. Now, there's a couple of other examples, okay? This game that I pulled up is a 5-minute game, and this is actually very balanced. White is 130, black is 142. White is completely winning. And here white spends 32 seconds on a move. What? You got 1 minute and 30 left. You just spent 33% of your time. I mean, I don't know, maybe you dropped your phone in the toilet and you had to get it out. I don't know, maybe your baby woke up from a nap and you have to, we have responsibilities, but if we're just talking specifically, this is not a move you need to, what? You didn't need to spend 30 seconds on this move, and now watch what happens. Black spends 30 seconds too. Both these guys driving me insane, and what ends up happening is we get a rook endgame, 45 versus 1 minute and 4. When you have an endgame, especially one like this, find a way to maximize your advantage. You have 4 pawns. Find a way to push them. You want to push this. This is not guarded. Defend it, push it. Right? But watch what white does. White starts going for random rook maneuvers. And then black, in disastrous fashion, it's the same mistake that we saw in the earlier part of the video, trades the rooks. This is so simple now. Snap, snap, of course, right? Now, you're pushing the wrong pawn. What are we doing here? You got an ocean of pawns. Push the pawn to become a queen. Focusing your mind, right? By the way, 8 seconds on rook takes rook. We can't have that. Not 8 seconds. 32 to 24 on rook takes rook. Just take it. Don't even think. Take it. And set these benchmarks for yourself so you don't even end up in these situations, right? If it's an obvious move, just go. Force yourself to do it. Don't just sit there like, I'm not sure. You're up like a million pawns here, if that's a number. And you have to push on the right side of the board. Notice now, white's got 15 seconds, and white doesn't even know what they're doing anymore. And now black takes pawns and checks. You see what black is doing to win on time? Black is checking. Black is attacking the king, and now white is only up to 4 seconds. And even here, at the very, very end, with 4 seconds on the clock, white could have tried to win the game, like by bringing the queen and the rook, but it's not easy, and, well, black ends up just winning on time. White ends up losing on time a few moves later. White totally deserving here, but played the game a little bit too slowly. Now, here's an example of a game where white just played, like, utter garbage. I mean, I don't even know what white is doing here with the queen, but if I get to move 10... do you notice the time situation? This is a 10-minute game, and black has spent half the time on move 10. No. No. We can't have that. You cannot be down nearly 3 minutes on time. And as this game goes longer, it doesn't matter that white is completely losing. We are just spending too much time. Look at this. We are now down more than 3 minutes. We just spent... look at this. We spent 25 seconds on queen takes knight. We just can't do that. Force yourself to be faster. Set these little benchmarks for yourself. Guys... 242 on the 15th move of a 10-minute game. Nah, you got to play 15-10. If you're struggling that much, you got to play 15-10. Because now what ends up happening? Look at this. 209 122. No, guys. No. We can't do this. This game I really wanted to show because white played like they literally learned chess 2 days ago, and black played like they were reading, you know, the Iliad while they were playing chess. I mean, a lot of things get missed as your time gets slow, and it's basically just forcing your brain to scan for the most important stuff. For example, in this position, the first thing that you should scan for in any position, do I have any checks? Yeah, knight c2. That's a fork. A triple fork, right? A triple fork. But black plays c5, right? So it's just it. It's just that simple. Forcing yourself to get in the right mindset for this kind of stuff. And, you know, for these last two examples, I wanted to show you how to convert positions very quickly, low on time, to checkmate your opponents, okay? So here's a game where soft maybe's got 17 seconds and black has 113, but white is completely winning. So white plays a5. Now, if you want to make this even easier, you can just do something called cutting the king off right away. Just play rook to e1, but you'll notice that white is able to promote a queen relatively easily. Now black plays d3. Queen to e4 check, beautiful move. As close as you can get, as close as you can get to the enemy king, the better. King to d2. Now, 14 seconds on the clock. This is difficult. You basically, at this point, have to laser focus. Where can the king move? These two squares. Okay, can I bring my queen back here? Can I bring my queen back here? If check, here, mate. Easy. Follow the queen's path. King is right up in your face. You gotta beat the king. However, white goes here, sacrificing the queen, which is actually not the worst idea in the world, because then you are going to go for this. But you have 11 seconds here. How do you win a position like this? Rook behind the pawn. Rook behind the pawn. Camp out so the pawn cannot become a queen. I don't like this. You will not win this with 10 seconds on the clock. White went for simplification. White should have stayed focused. Rook behind the pawn. And then promote. And if the king gets closer to you, you slide back. If the king goes too far, you take the pawn. And then when, let's say like c4, f4, you know, king b6. Oh, boom. King b5, distance. Push. Push. Oh, the king's coming closer. Oh, I'm going to the other side. And then you can pre-move these moves. You've got about 4 seconds here. And that's mate, rather than losing on time. And what happens in the game is, well, white just in a time trouble goes a little bit crazy, ends up pushing the pawns and losing the pawns. And games like this happen all the time. Games you deserve to win. So it's about finding and focusing on the checkmating pattern and bringing your queen and rook or whatever you have closer together in a time scramble, or simplifying as white did in this game, but the right way. Rook behind the pawn, cut off the king, promote the pawn, and then end up getting a ladder checkmate. For this last game, oh, this game broke my heart, and I saved it for last because there was so much stuff here, my goodness. So this was a subscriber who played kind of a French defense, right? It's a 10-minute game, and obviously the person playing with the black pieces, I mean, so far they're kind of all... Look at this. Queen c4. How much time was spent on that move by white? I don't know if that was a slip, but white played queen c4, and black just didn't even... You know why? Because black is like, I know in the French defense I need to play queen b6. My bishop's under attack. Look. 28 seconds on the move queen b6. Knight b5, bishop takes f2, and now the queen has been captured. All right, take... What? What? Okay, whatever, fine. Anyway, 758 versus 754. Now, you're up a queen, simplify the game down. Simplify the game down. 47 seconds on knight d4 is a travesty. No. That move could have been played in 2 seconds. Why? You're up a queen. I mean, in this position, you look if this is possible. It's not. So you just go knight d4. Maybe you play rook g8. That's another option. Maybe bishop e3. Maybe bring the king and then bring the rook. But we just... this is too much. Bishop g5, king c8. 20 seconds on king c8? Too slow. That's not a hard move. Force yourself to move faster. Queen b2. And now knight takes f3. Black is completely winning. But black hangs a queen and can take the knight. And then gets closer and hangs the queen anyway. And now white is completely winning and white is up a minute. Black, immediately rattled by these developments, has to start scrambling, is down on time, and continues to burn clock time because they are losing, and is now is down 2 minutes on the clock. But now black immediately invests in where they are stronger, which is the queen side. They start speeding up. Look at this. They start speeding up. White immediately blunders. We get a4. Wait, can I just... 20 seconds on this. Look at this, 358? 20 seconds on this. But still, they're too slow. Play the obvious move. Just do it. And then figure it out, right? Bishop takes the 8, 3.5 minutes, a4, right? b3, bishop e4, and b takes a2, and rook a1. Okay? Now, officially, black is completely winning. Because black has pushed this pawn all the way through. I have no idea what happened in this game. But black is still down nearly 2 minutes on the clock. Rook b2 check, king e1, and black got tunnel vision here, thinking that this x-ray was going to lead to this. Scan for a check. This check just wins. Look at this. 15 seconds on this move, 14 seconds. But this check, right? But the time keeps ticking. And here, another perfect example. Look how much time gets spent on this move. 24 seconds on rook to h1 x-ray check. Just too much. Is that a good check? King moves. I say, oh, boom, got it. Easy. I'm going to go for it. Can play that move, gives yourself some extra time. Because what ends up happening in this game is white sets a trap with bishop to f6, a nasty trap. You queen, and then discover check, and you lose your queen, and the game is back on, somehow, some miracle. So now it's rook, pawn, pawn, 2 minutes per player. So what is the best way to win this? White actually finds it. I mean, black actually, white actually finds it. Black actually finds it. But look at what black is doing. Black is getting very passive here with the rook. Do you notice how much time? Look, 202 on move 46, and just a few moves later on move 49, a full minute burned. No, this is too slow. 2 minutes, you gotta move. c6, okay, I can't get close. Rook to g2. Oh, the pawn's moving? Oh, let me slide my king back. Because now we get this and this, not even rook c8, which I thought was the idea. Black goes here, g4, a2, and then we get this. Now it's 50 seconds versus 140. Still totally winning if you stay focused. If you're playing against the knight, make sure it cannot fork you. Make sure there are no checks. Go get the pawn and promote. But black just gives away the knight. I mean, white just gives away the knight. 45 seconds on the clock. Now, the absolute easiest way to win this, cut the king off. Cut the king off. Go win the pawn. Queen, mate. Cut the king off. But that doesn't happen. We get rook to g8. Takes 38 seconds. Cut the king off. Just cut the king off. Okay, slip, push, 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 push. So far, so good. Now, oh my god. Please cut the king off. 37 seconds. But black has had a whirlwind of a game emotionally. And starts chasing the king around. And this is what happens sometimes. You just go, oh my god, how do I mate? How do I mate? Oh my god, what do I do? Oh my god. There was a lot of mates missed here. There were a lot of mates missed. I can't lie. I don't know if there was a mate in one missed. There probably was. But black was just too slow. The queen and rook, you just need one to capture one row and the other to capture the other. Queen h5, check, 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 pre-move. From this game, from this position, you can win in less than 1 second if you pre-move it. If you go check, knowing the king is going to have to go back to this row, check, check, check. Actually, technically, that would be less than half a second. So this game, black spent a little bit too much time in the opening, even on the obvious move, because they had tunnel vision with their opening preparation. Then they spent a little bit too long converting. They ultimately ended up blundering into a position where they were now losing and down on time. They made a comeback, but in making that comeback, still had a 3-minute gap between themselves and their opponent. By the time they reached the winning position, they were still in panic mode because they had 2 minutes left, and then they spent a full minute for 3 moves in a position where they have no pieces on the board. So these little things, opening, middle game, end game, forcing yourself to play the obvious looking moves and not falling behind too much on the clock if you are playing these games too slowly. Set those benchmarks for yourself. Whatever it is you play, 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, I will not spend more than X amount of time on X amount per moves every single game. I will not be within 3 minutes or more with my opponent. I will always keep it within 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Now, one more thing. If you play really slowly, try bullet. Bullet, you have to play fast. 1 minute per player, you got nowhere to go. You got to move quick. And that will train your first instinct. If you want to, try to solve puzzles within a minute as well. Laser focus. You might get a lot of puzzles wrong. But when I was training for tournaments, I would find a tactical solution to a position in 30 seconds. I would force myself to play a move. Whether it was right or not, I had no idea. But that is how I did my practice. Hopefully this helps. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments below. I will take a look. As always, if there's any topics that I haven't covered, please put them in the comments below. I would really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, left a comment just in general. Love reading the comments as always. And I think that's it. This is just about willpower. Hopefully this pointed you in the right direction, made you think about a few things a little bit differently. Best of luck. Hope we can all improve on this journey together, and I'll see you in the next video.